All right, welcome. Today we're going to unpack a fascinating story that's about 2,500 years old. It's got everything: a monk, a corrupt official, and a final lesson that, trust me, you won't see coming. It's all about ethics, responsibility, and one heck of a twist at the end. So the whole thing kicks off with this one simple question. A famous monk named Sariputta is getting news from back home, and he asks about this guy, a Brahmin named Dhananjani. He hears the man's doing well, but that's not what Sariputta really wants to know. He pushes and asks, but is he diligent? And what he means is he living an ethical life? Is he mindful? It's a much deeper question.
And the answer he gets, well, it's not great. Turns out, Dhananjani is anything but diligent. He's got this position of authority, but he's become corrupt. Sariputta gets pretty concerned, because this kind of thing doesn't just affect one person, it affects the whole community. And just like that, the stage is set for a major confrontation.
This is the accusation, and it's actually pretty clever in a sneaky way. Dhananjani is basically using his powerful connections to the king to squeeze the regular folks. And then he turns around and uses his position with the people to skim from the king. He's playing both sides. And Sariputta decides, okay, I need to go see this guy for myself.
So Sariputta finds him. And this is where we get to their first real conversation. When Sariputta calls him out on his bad behavior, Dhananjani doesn't even try to deny it. Nope. Instead, he just unloads a whole mountain of excuses.
Dhananjani just lets it all spill out. He's like, how can I possibly be diligent and righteous? Look at my life. I've got my parents, my wives and kids, my workers, my friends, my relatives, guests. Then there are offerings for the gods, duties to the king, and oh yeah, I gotta feed myself. Doesn't this sound incredibly modern? Just the crushing weight of all our worldly responsibilities.
But Sariputta isn't moved by this. He's not really interested in the emotional weight of it all. Instead, he comes back with pure, cold, inescapable logic. He's about to school this guy in moral responsibility. Sariputta just starts dismantling Dhananjani's excuses one by one. He hits him with this killer hypothetical. He says, okay, let's say you do something wrong for your parents' sake. When you die and the consequences come for you, can your parents jump in and tell the wardens of hell, hey, hold on, he did it for us, and get you off the hook?
And Dhananjani's answer is immediate. He knows. He says no. He admits his parents would just be standing there, crying, totally helpless, as he gets dragged away. The point is hammered home. The responsibility is his, and his alone. Sariputta then uses this exact same logic for every single one of his other excuses. His wife, the king, even for himself.
This right here is the logical checkmate. For every single duty, Sariputta asks, so, who is better? The person who does these things unjustly or the person who does them justly? And every single time, Dhananjani has to admit that the just path is better. The reason you do something doesn't magically make a wrong action right. And with that, all of Dhananjani's arguments are just gone. Sariputta's final point is clear. You don't have to choose between your duties and your morals. It is absolutely possible to support your family and live a good, principled life. Logically, Dhananjani has no defense left. Okay, so a little while goes by, and when we pick up the story again, the vibe is totally different. It's gotten much darker. This isn't an intellectual debate anymore. This is now about life and death. Dhananjani is sick, gravely ill. And as he's lying on his deathbed in immense pain, who does he call for? Not his family, not the king. He calls for the one person who told him the hard truth, Sariputta. When Sariputta gets there, Dhananjani tries to describe the pain he's in, and the descriptions are just brutal. He's not just sick, he's in agony. First, he says the pain in his head feels like a strong man is drilling into his skull with a sharp spike. Then he describes the pain in his stomach. He says it's like a skilled butcher is just slicing his stomach open with a razor-sharp meat cleaver. The imagery is so graphic, really trying to get across how unbearable this is. And finally, he describes this burning sensation all over his body. It feels, he says, like two strong guys have grabbed him and are roasting him over a pit of red-hot coals. So at this moment, total desperation, facing death, unimaginable pain. Now he's finally ready to listen.
And Sariputta, seeing all this suffering, he doesn't gloat. He doesn't say, "I told you so." He responds with pure compassion. He offers Dhananjani a path forward, a way to find a better existence after this one.
Sariputta uses the same logical trick as before, but this time he's building hope. He asks, Dhananjani, which is better, hell or being reborn as an animal? The animal realm. Okay, which is better, the animal realm or the ghost realm? And he keeps going, walking him up this ladder of existence, from the lowest suffering realms, past being human, all the way up into different heavenly realms. He stops at the realm of divinity, which is the highest goal for a Brahmin like him.
So how do you get there? Sariputta gives him a practical technique. He tells the dying man to focus his mind and just radiate a feeling of love, of compassion, of joy for others, and of calm acceptance, spreading it out in all directions, to fill the whole world. It's a powerful meditation meant to purify his mind right at the moment of death.
So Sariputta gives this teaching, and he leaves. Dhananjani does the meditation, he passes away, and he gets reborn in that divine realm. Seems like a perfect ending, right? A story of redemption. But this is where the story hits you with its final and most important twist. So yeah, the outcome looks great on the surface. The corrupt guy, guided by this compassionate monk, finds peace and gets into heaven. You'd think Sariputta did a great thing, and he did, but that's not the whole picture. Because when the Buddha hears about what Sariputta did, his reaction isn't what you'd expect. He's not celebrating. In fact, he has a critique for his top disciple.
This is the stunner. The Buddha looks at Sariputta and asks, "Why did you leave? There was more work to be done." Can you imagine how Sariputta must have felt? He just saved a man from a terrible fate, guided him to a heavenly rebirth. What more could there possibly be?
And here it is. This is the Buddha's profound point. Sariputta saw that Dhananjani, as a Brahmin, really wanted to get to the realm of divinity. So he gave him the path to get there. But that realm, even though it's a heaven, is considered inferior because it's still temporary. It's still part of the cycle of life and death. The highest goal was total liberation from that cycle. Sariputta aimed for what the man wanted, not for the highest possible good that was actually within reach.
And that's the question the story leaves us with. It's so challenging. It doesn't say Sariputta was wrong, but it forces us to think. When we try to help people, do we sometimes settle for a good outcome because it's easier or because it's what they think they want? When maybe, just maybe, a better or even the best outcome is possible if we aim a little higher? What does it truly mean to help? It's a 2,500-year-old question that is just as powerful today.